guys, this is Landry Williams with Southern Star. I'm going to run this quick demonstration video just to show you exactly what we do as we write the config to the DS. Open up our folder with all our previous configs in it. In this example, I'm going to show you the consumer group 4, which is the config we did have issues with that we sent to Dave. And I know when he would open it out of the email, it was showing up as a 4203DR. This is obviously showing up as a DS at this point. And then as I run through here, these are just steps that we take on every single one of our meters that are out in the field. First thing we change would be this ID. In this case, we'll make it 1234. Come in here, change the serial ports. COM2 is what we use for our radio, and we change the station number and the Enron station, and of course random numbers here as well. Again, changing the run ID. None of this other stuff we ever change. If we're setting up for like an orifice run, then we would use a different config that had previously been set up as an orifice. In this case, we're looking at an AGA7. For some reason, it won't let me do 60 on the low flow detect time. I have to change it to 5, and nothing else will change along here until we get to AGA7 tab. And again, random number for the K factor. Under measured variables, any orifice run that we have in our company on these new 4203s, we scale them to 0 to 250, and static pressure, in this case it's at 100. I'm going to randomly 500 on this one. All of our RTDs 0 to 150, don't change any of that. Nothing else changes in this screen. Before I go any farther, I save as. In this case, I'm going to make a new folder on my desktop. Save it, and immediately I close out. I don't need to be in here anymore. Right now I'm not in the office, but if I would, this is where I would make my config and save it until I go out into the field and we get the apparatus installed. And once we're out there, open up Realflo again. Open up, here's the one I just wrote. Sometimes have to come in, change the baud rate. It doesn't look like we need to at this point. I wrote the other config with 19.2, so hit write config. Normally we would update it. For sake of time in this video, I'm not going to. I'm just going to continue with the older version. Of course, I'm using the new version that Dave sent me, 6.91. The Flow computer I've got an older version, so of course this error pops up for that reason. I still want to write to it. Okay, looks like it wrote and it took it. First thing I do is I come over here, set the clock. Clock is now set, and I'm going to now update the readings, make sure that I am 100% connected to it. Of course, if I was actually out in the field and not my bedroom, I would have an RTD hooked up. It would show up. Temperature, I don't have any nitrogen or anything in here, so pressure and of course no pulses. After I confirm that I am actually communicating with it, come over here to calibrate inputs. For this instance, I'm just going to show you how we zero the 4203 Okay, for the as found, I'm just, I'm going to put it at 0, it won't matter. Yes, I do want to calibrate. Okay, now here, I don't want to re-zero it to 0, I want to re-zero it Okay, looks like we go and get the barometric pressure from the local airport, if there is one. In this case, it looks like it's right at 30 inches. And have a calculator here. And then we do the conversion here. Grab this. And plug that in to zero it, and at that point I will hit re-zero. It takes that 0. Okay, now for the as founds, for the sake of this video, I will pretend we do a six point as found, 0, 50% of the span, 100% of the span, ascending, and then descending we go from 100, 80, 20, and then back to 0. So we span this to 500, so I would, at this point, I would do 250. 500, and of course then we would go down, leaving this offset there from the spreadsheet. I like everything I see, so I hit next. At this point I would make sure all of my sensors are plugged back in. I've got full line pressure to the sensor, and that is how we calibrate our 0, and that is how we write an old config or take an old config and write it to utilize it as a new one with a new install. Thank you.